Hey there, virtual mechanics. Thanks for clicking. Hope y'all are doing well, and welcome to another video in a series about survival and scrap mechanics. This one's creative and a functional mashup of home and garden with base defense designed to slow down bot raids. And while I will be doing this with the mod loaded, we'll keep it to the regular old survival mode parts aside from a few decorative crates. This mod was made by Fant, by the way. You can check that out on the Scrap Mechanic playlist. We'll be covering the very building basics, plus how to get some things functioning in the home, including an elevator and doors. This version was done a while ago when originally playing with the creations of the mod maker. It's a simple 2-level lake house made for storage of extra items and processing of food. It includes a glow bug farm with an automatic feeder for the cardboard boxes, with it being easy to keep them submerged in a setup like this. It's only slightly suspended above a large lake behind Trustworthy and my first mechanic station on the server. Since it's located above a bunch of the oil spouts on this lake bed, it might be a good idea to create a vacuum pump to collect up all the bubbles in the future to get even more use from this area. Right across from this is a piston-powered suspension bridge to a small island farm. This build features one particular form of base defense, that being sabotaging the bots by water, since they will spawn on shore and race to jump in it. It doesn't take too much work to pick off the robots from raids with only a small crop that will fit in this space. It's the micro farm route, but it gets the job done, especially in the early days of gaming. One could always start with a very small shack on the water to save on building materials. When you look through the craft bot, there's a number of materials to choose from to which to build a little home and garden base that will either entirely avoid robot invasion or give you a tactical advantage with some minor defenses. The block menu has some more realistic building materials for a house if you're going for a creative style, but if this is survival mode, one might want to consider the durability of the blocks that they're choosing, as robots have a chance of damage on every swing. There's going to be chunks of building missing if they reach the home. Concrete is one of my go-to options because it's fairly high in durability and the ease of obtaining the resources to make it. Stone becomes abundant after assembling a drilling machine to mow down the rock formations, and chemicals can be pumped from large reservoirs scattered across the map. But since this is also part of avoidance strategy, I'll go ahead and risk using wood and glass for style, because this is just for fun content to show building basics and how to hook up some innovative appliances that might be useful to your own survival modes. There's also items available in the craft bot that we can use to outfit the place. There's mods available to add creative items for more decorative options. Fant is one of them, but others just have assets, so it doesn't alter the game too much. I'm using the cheater menu here for this tutorial, but moving items to the action bar will make them craftable in the amount that you currently have in your inventory. This mode makes things unlimited so that we can build freely for now. After finding the desired location, we just use a lot of left clicking to place blocks individually, or when dragged it creates a larger surface area with many blocks at once. This makes for some fairly fast construction as long as you've got the resources for it. This build requires starting below the water and to get some supports up for the house before starting a foundation. On land, you don't have to start in any particular order. You can put the foundation first or walls first, fill in the gaps as you go on, creating multiple floors or staircases to them. Staircase is optional because this game allows for working constructions, so elevator it is. Notice that I'm hovering in midair. That's also possible because of the cheat commands, but it makes building a lot of fun and a lot less time consuming to show us how this at least works. We can create some different room shapes and sizes. It really just depends on what purpose you have for your base. You might use it for storage or just feel like decorating for fun. Making a suspension bridge to land would even make it possible to store vehicles in this safe base. I had already done this smaller version to connect a tiny farm patch to the larger home base in case the robots got too close, but this idea could be expanded on, literally. And I'll just finish up with a little montage here. If you want to get the extra style points, there's paint too. The game offers quite a large selection of colors that can be used to brighten a room or an exterior. If you're really getting fancy, build with a double wall design so that the interior and exterior walls can have different textures. It leaves behind convenient glass window ledges for decorative items as a bonus. And a sidebar, if you want to get super creative, there's a creative mode for building too. And the mods there are going to give you a ton more leverage over how you can make your houses or other builds look. Here's a couple of pans from inside the house done in creative to show some ideas of just how many cool objects can be found on the Steam Workshop to add more life to your build, including ones by community members like this racing arcade game that lights up, or how about a vending machine? There's entire sets of kitchen cabinets and appliances that scale appropriately to the building block sizes. I even found some automotive memorabilia to go with the car motif. Mods in survival, on the other hand, let you paint walks. A rainbow of cow-like creatures is just too good not to throw into this video somewhere. Or how about a pink bug? Okay, I gotta stop. It's time to focus. It's hard to hold an attention span when there's so much to do in Scrap Mechanic. This versatile sandbox is lovable and the physics provide pure comedy at moments. Rainbow walks are such cuteness. I'll dedicate a walk farm video eventually. Maybe we could do a base defense with rotating saw blades of doom that keep haybots from harassing the walks as opposed to this more avoidance-oriented tactic. In order to achieve complete avoidance, there is one spot in the game that's currently unreachable by robots, and it's located just above the old trader's shack. You know, the one where you trade for... oh, wait. If you haven't been working on the acquisition of a spud gun yet, then maybe you haven't seen the only NPC in the game yet. I have a guide for that. I'll link it. Given all the maps are different, I can't give you a super specific exact location, but generally once you find the nearest mechanic station to the crash site, you can continue traveling on the road past it to find a packing station. The trader's home is located in the hills in the north around the first packing station. Look for a trail of signs that say "Keep Out" and it'll lead right to it. There's a metal shack and a giant vacuum within this little tiny valley thing. Running around the small pond has a little pathway that goes partway up a hill. Jumping on the rocks above the end starts a climb up to a plateau where the bots will struggle to reach. When positioned just right, bots spawn far enough away and can't overcome the steepest parts of the climb. I've only ever had one rogue haybot arrive when testing. It's always worth looking after your crops no matter how avoidant we've tried to be, but this does involve making regular trips up to this location and it's maybe not the most ideal. At least not for a more creative build or even a larger crop. If you're desperate and raids are getting you down, it may be a solution until you can get your spud guns, as getting one does involve trading up a lot of crops. Once finishing most of the house, it's time to start outfitting it with tech. First, the simple door. For these, we need bearings, a controller, and a switch. If you haven't already left yourself some space for an entrance, cut a rectangle in one of your walls using the right click to pick up the blocks. This can be done one by one, or click and drag for the entire section. At the bottom corner, place a bearing, and then set the controller and switch somewhere nearby. Starting at the top of the bearing, drag a rectangle to match the hole that completes the wall again. If all is good, you should see a little animation that looks like blue sparks flying out of the bearing. Take out that handy dandy connection tool and aim it for the switch. Click on it and connect it to the controller, then connect the controller to the bearing under the door. Open the controller menu, leaving the first dial on 0 for the default position of closed and then moving over one space for the switched on position. Drag the dial plus or minus 90 degrees depending on which way you want the door to open. When activated by the switch, the door should swing in or out for a high-tech entry. No keys required. Now that the doors are secured, we can move on to how we travel between floors. I built this model with a piston nearby for reference at the end height. I wanted the elevator to travel. You really only need one to do the job, but you can place more and hook them all up to the controller. Build a platform on top of the pistons of the material of your choice. Then build walls or hand railings as desired. To keep it simple, placing the switch on the inside of the elevator somewhere makes it possible to control from either floor. The controller just needs to be somewhere nearby connected to the elevator. When the designing is done, mouse wheel on over to the connecting tool and join the switch with the controller. Then link the controller to the piston. Leaving the first column in the off position for the elevator at ground level, in the next column move the slider to a higher position to match the desired height for the second floor, so that when the switch is flipped on, the elevator goes up. Ta-da! Modern convenience. This procedure can be replicated for the little drawbridge as well, fairly simplistic. Build a controller box up top to get started, and we'll need at least one piston, but more if you like, and a switch to go with that controller. Just off the island, find a foundation to hook a piston to, or a few. Using the connection tool, connect the controller and switch together, then the controller with the piston. Open the controller menu, leaving the first column position at the off of 0, and maxing out the next column to see how far the pistons reach. Swim back down to build the blocks on top of your piston until it reaches the water line. We'll need to now build a deck that spans a dock from the farm island to the home patio base area. In order to avoid joining it all together, seizing it in place, build within one block of the edges. When the bridge is lowered, we can add one final row so that when it's raised again, it'll complete a surface deck. For the extra protection against invasion of your storage, this could be lowered to buy more time for bots to reach it. They'll probably be too preoccupied with attacking you anyway if you're there. The crops may or may not survive the night if the islands are very close to shore. Trustworthy and I still have to fend off attackers on the first example base we goofed around with. We still wanted something to do. It was all in the spirit of experimentation and fun. As for the garden part, it's the standard plant, water, harvest, and repeat, unless you want to toss in some fertilizer into that rotation. You know what to do. Let's see how many plots that we can get on this piece of land and what kind of attention we can attract. Base defense strategy is a large part of scrap mechanic survival mode in the long run, but this could be a viable option in the short term while building up materials. In addition to the crops one can farm, raids means consistent loot drops off bots too. Other base defense strategies that involve crushing, sawing, or automatic guns are a bit more resources and time-consuming, but everything's on a scale and we gotta start somewhere. Eventually, Trustworthy and I will make something massive once we farm up all the materials to do it. As fun as the mod is, I don't want to completely cheat myself right out of fun in this game. Lately, we've been playing a whole lot of Axolotl's other game, Raft, but still logging into scrap mechanic. It doesn't really get old, it's just that Raft is such an awesome game when they teamed up with Red Beat Studio. I recommend it if you haven't played it, and if you want to know more, I've started a Raft playlist for you to browse. The channel is about simulators of all kinds, many that involve building. If that's stuff that interests you, please stop by. Thanks for sticking around, I hope you have a wonderful day and that this guide helped with getting some of your ideas for your home and garden project in scrap mechanic. Take care y'all, and bye-bye!